question. A person with software skills gets a job in a hardware firm on a temporary basis. A person with software skills gets a job in a hardware firm on a temporary basis. He is not doing well and is feared to be sacked within 1 year. His boss gives him letters of recommendation to apply elsewhere. At the end of the year, when he is to be thrown out, he files a case against the US firm, against the firm, showing the recommendation letters. How will the company come out of this mess? Is the case clear?
Sir, I couldn't get the case. Like, so can you
A,
once
pers-
repeat the case? Yeah.
a person with software skills gets a job in a hardware firm on a temporary basis. He
Okay.
is not doing well and is feared to be sacked within 1 year. His boss gives him letters of recommendation to apply elsewhere. At the end of the year, when he is to be thrown out, he files a case against the company itself, showing the recommendation letters. How will the company come out of this mess? Is the case clear now? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So how will the company come out of the mess? Let's start. Start please.
Like for the yes, yes, sir. Like we have to look at the crux of the case since the person that was employed had software skills and not hardware skills. So the first question that can be raised is why was that person employed? And I do understand that that was a temporary employment, but as to why the letter of recommendation was handed out to him, that is something that the company's internal policy should be looked upon as to if the performance was not satisfactory as to why he received a letter of recommendation. However, in order to safeguard the company uh, from the legal aspects, like the company giving out letter of recommendation does not actually make the employee uh, free from any sort of work that he's doing which is not up to the mark. Even though he has received a letter of recommendation, the fact that the company was not finding his employment up to the satisfaction level uh, can mean that the company can terminate his contract, can terminate him.
Okay. So adding on to this, I think at this moment we should focus more on how to defend ourselves, and we can also look at why was the letter of recommendation given to him and why was he hired. We should also look at that. But at this moment, we should think how can we defend the company. So we can point out some of the facts, like we can point out his previous work experience if he had any, like they were more focused on his software skills. So the company must have given a letter of recommendation out of good faith to the employee. So it's not necessary that a letter of recommendation proves that he is good for the hardware job. The letter of recommendation may specify his personality skills, his interpersonal skills, but that does not mean he's right for the hardware job. He might be right, he might be a good leader, he might be a good team player, but there are specific skills which were required for the hardware jobs which he did not possess. So yeah, I think the company has all the rights to terminate his employment based on these factors.
What are the things you would like to discuss in this case from what all perspective?
So I think firstly, why was he employed? Like what were the circumstances then and what are the circumstances now? I
Right.
think pre- hello.
Yeah, right, correct.
Yeah. So it might be the case that there were not enough employees available then, but there are
Mm,
sufficient number of employees and applications available with the company now.
mm,
So that might be one of the cases of hiring him at that point.
mm.
The second case, I think, can be like the company must have expected that he would grow with the company
Mm.
and he will learn the skills in the hardware company, which he might not have learned and he might not have shown enough dedication to learn those skills. So
Okay.
that can also, yeah.
And from the employee's perspective and the boss's perspective, hello.
So, so from the boss's perspective, I think he might not be having a very good interpersonal relationship with the boss, and there might be arguments with the boss, which might lead to his termination.
But then the boss gave him letters, na? See, the case also says that he was hired on a temporary basis. So what is the big deal if he's being thrown out? That too after 1 year.
Yes, sir. I think if he was hired on a temporary basis, he might be given a lot of opportunities to improve, but I think that did not happen. So,
Yeah, there are a couple of things which you can say here, na, that he is, first of all, he's a software guy who is being selected for a hardware job. So it may be the case that later on the company wanted to go for software development or something like that, but maybe that didn't happen. Maybe the company took him because they found promise in him and they thought that he would fit into the hardware work that he was supposed to do, and maybe that has not happened. From his perspective, it looks like he's an opportunist. He's taken recommendation letters from his boss, and now when he has to leave the company, he's suing the company. So that is very opportunistic on his part. Then the boss was obviously wrong because he must be interacting with the HR department also, telling them that this guy is no good and we need to show him the door. And on the other hand, he's giving letters of recommendation for him. So it is not fair for the prospective employers also because they will rely on this letter of recommendation and then they find that this guy is no good. So definitely the fault here lies with the boss somewhere. But the thing that the question asked is that how will the company come out of this now? So what do we do there? Yes,
sir, I think the company can have a discussion properly with the employee and do out of court settlement with him.
yeah.
So that,
That that seems to be the only feasible option that the company can try to reinstate him. Maybe one of the options could be reinstate him. But if the company reinstates him, then that gives a bad precedent.
yeah,
And
yes,
and the other thing is that this guy, when he has sued the company, then it has motivational impact on the other employees also. They start thinking that the company has got politics in it, it is not fair and stuff like that. But the best way out would probably be to have an out of court settlement and have a, normally you sign an agreement saying that now after this he has no other claims on the company and all these things that they have parted amicably and all. So that seems to be the only way out. right?
Yes, sir.
Mohit, you have to say anything?
No, sir. Like all the points are covered. Like that is the only option that the company has.
Mhm. So when do you plan to discuss this CFA thing between the two of you?
Sir, I think maybe on the weekend, sir, I have to go through the material first. So it will
ठीक है,
take me
that
around
you
2 to 3 days.
that you decide among yourself, between yourself, and we'll meet
Okay,
again tomorrow as usual. That's fine.
yes, sir.
But
Yes,
Pulkit,
sir.
I think you need to do your acad properly, huh?
Yes, sir.
And the chances are they'll ask you from CFA.
Yes, sir.
But they are more, see, although there are CAs also in the faculty, but then they look at the management perspective and the analytical perspective, and so finance may be the more important thing for you to do, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
Chalo, okay, good night. We'll meet again tomorrow. Mohit, will you be coming tomorrow?
Sir, I can come, like, but I don't know what can we discuss tomorrow.
So better to do some more work expert and then come on Saturday.
Yes, sir, I'll do that. I'll work on the work expert as well as the hobbies part, and then we can have a like proper sort of interview.
Saturday we can have it.
Okay, sir.
Okay, good night.
Good night, sir.
Good night, sir.